Hey, how are you?
Okay, I appreciate it. No,
James.
What are you all rise?
Oh, I'm sorry, I surprised you.
Be seated, please.
Kathleen, good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
We're ready to resume court. The defendant's in the courtroom. Matter of housekeeping, Mr. Sharon has had produced a list of the jurors, the full names of the jurors for the hardship, and it's consistent with and follows the way that they were called and gave their testimony. I believe all of you have received a copy, and sometime if you'll review it, if there are any changes that need to be made. I'm not going to, I think Mr. Phillips has a copy, but Brian, don't file it until after they've had a chance in case we need to change something on it. So try to do that today so that we can get that bit of housekeeping taken care of. We have 3 more hardships. I think it prudent to go ahead and take care of that this morning. Are they ready to come in? Okay. Brian, I'll let you swear all 3 of them. I think I didn't bother to say I hope y'all had a good evening, but I do. Thank you, Mr. Sharon.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Kind of move on to the end, I guess.
Maybe in the middle.
Or the middle would be fine.
I think middle is good. I thought there were 3.
Well, I was mistaken.
There are 2. Okay. Gentlemen, if you would stand and raise your right hand, the clerk's going to swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give to the court unless you know that it will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Have a seat. Let's see. I'm going to start with you first. Would you give me your initials, please?
Me? MWT.
And what would you like to share with us?
Well, I am getting married on the 24th of September.
Congratulations. Oh, yes, I can say that to you. Best wishes to your bride.
Thank you. It's under a lot of stress right now, but we'll get there. So, yeah, right now we're leading up to the marriage. My family's coming on Sunday, and then we're going up to North Georgia. I just moved from Athens less than a year ago. But yeah, the wedding's somewhere up there, and then we're going on our honeymoon October 2nd and get back the 12th. So I just didn't think my dates would
Okay.
line up with the trial. So I just
Let me clarify the dates then. You are leaving toward the Athens area this Sunday? Or
no, my
Saturday?
family's coming into town. They'll just be here. I'm leaving Thursday. I'll be gone until Tuesday.
Okay.
So
You're leaving this Thursday?
yeah, I'll be gone September 22nd until September 27th.
Okay. And then the honeymoon,
October 2nd until the 12th.
where are you honeymooning?
California.
Do you have tickets and all?
Yeah, I have some stuff regarding to this reservation.
All right. Does the state have questions of the juror?
Just briefly, I assume you made those accommodations well before you got your jury summons.
Yes, yes.
That's all I have.
And do you have questions, Mr. Kilgore?
No, ma'am.
Will counsel approach, please? I kind of did y'all backwards, if you don't mind kind of stepping over the juror and going through that door. Mr. Pardee's going to meet you, and he will give you your next directions.
Okay.
And I hope you have a long and wonderful.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, the deal is, if you look at your spouse and they're not smiling, you need to do something different.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Well, for her too. It's good advice, if you can do it. All right, and I know you're on our panel, but do you mind giving me your initials again?
SCG, Your Honor.
Okay. What would you like to share with us?
Well, Your Honor, my business, as a contractor, has kind of turned into more of a handyman service with the housing market and everything. So, I'm under the circumstances. My wife and I, we've got one of our dogs right now that's got cancer, and I'm having to come home and help her take care of the dog. And just like yesterday, between yesterday and today, I'm probably going to lose, 5 or 6 jobs because I'm not able to do it. And if this case draws out, like that, and I'm involved in it, I could lose almost all my business over the years. I've tried to build a small, handy. I feel like it would create a financial hardship on me and my family.
Do you have questions?
No questions on that topic, Judge. We can approach in a second.
You may.
It's not that I don't want to serve, I just got to thinking about it yesterday. I think it would be really hard for me.
Mr. Golden, I just have a couple of questions, okay? Not needing to embarrass you or anything like that. We ask everybody if you know anybody, if you have know anybody who's been arrested or convicted or anything. And both parties have access to criminal histories and things of that nature. Just to make sure, have you ever been convicted of a felony in the state of Georgia?
Well, years ago, I got in a little bit of trouble that I thought was guarded under the First Offenders Act.
Okay, and that was going to be my question, because some of those things still show up on what we have, and so it's not clear sometimes as to whether you had first offender or not. So that's why I wanted to follow up. So you received first offender on, I guess it was 1989, something in Gwinnett?
Yes.
Okay, and did you successfully complete it?
Yes,
And so that's been discharged from your record, correct?
as far as I know.
Okay, so as it stands right now, you're not a convicted felon, correct?
Right.
As far as you know? Okay. That's all I have, Judge.
Mr. Kilgore, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Do you all want to ask any questions about the financial hardship situation with the prospective juror?
I have no questions.
Do you, Mr. Kilgore?
No, ma'am.
Gentlemen, come forward. You have to step out and Mr. Purdue will tell me. I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of trouble. All right, that's fine. Mr. Purdue will tell you next steps, and we've got to double check on the first offender too. So there are two things that at play, which is the financial hardship, which is not a legal cause to excuse you. It is something that the lawyers can take into account in deciding on jury selection. And I know it's something they'll make note of and take into account. And then we'll also look into the first offender discharge to see if that was properly done. Thank you. And I'm sorry about your dog, and I understand about the business.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Sharon, then when we can have the 36, that would be good.
Judge, before they come in, can I just address a couple of issues?
Certainly.
First of all, just before we start questioning, I wanted to, have the jurors been informed of the time frame in which they may be needed yet when introductions were done or anything? So,
No.
Okay, great.
No, everything they've heard, you've heard,
Okay.
to my knowledge.
Okay.
Everything from me
Yes, ma'am.
that they've heard, you've heard.
Okay.
Now,
So-
what's, behind the scenes and all with clerks and such, and that's always the case.
Okay.
I can't vouch for it.
All right, thank you. Also, that's why you moved the microphone away that time. I know some people were actually hearing our conference yesterday, so I was going to see if there's anything you could turn off, but I don't know if it has a switch. But I think I asked people behind us, and they could not hear it this time when you moved it away. So,
Well, just keep reminding me, because I'll forget.
and one thing, I know that there is a microphone up there for our bench conference. I don't know if the media is playing that or if they're recording it. I brought it to the defense's attention. I don't have a position on it really. I just wanted everybody to be aware that that's there. And so,
I thought when we, okay, which one? This one?
Yes.
This one is the court reporters. But there, I do believe there's a mic for the media. Is it this one?
Yes, ma'am.
But I told them yesterday, you all yesterday, that you were not to record anything relating, I believe I said bench conferences, but if not, I mean that. And also, when we're out of session, and you're bound to follow that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is that helpful?
yes, Judge, thank you very much.
If I could just clarify what you're telling me is when we have a bench conference, that mic is to be cut off.
Yes,
That's correct, yes.
yes. And then when we adjourn or take recesses, the mic is turned off, particularly so the defense can talk to their client without being recorded, because that's critically important. Any other concerns?
Nothing, Judge, from the state.
Well, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Now, we're bringing them in as 36 or in 12s? 36?
I think 36.
That's what I had in mind for the generals. And then we'll do individuals in panels. Okay. Please.
I believe they're ready, Judge.
I believe we're ready. That's a happy coincidence. Do you need something? So, then remind me when we need to go to the office of the number. Do they know we're not taking down the bench conference? No, I'm gonna call them up. Once we get the jurors settled, I'm gonna call them and tell them that you're not taking down the bench conferences. And so we'll have to build them. And we'll just have to manage that. There's a minute before the jurors come up. Counsel, just be aware that the court reporter told me that she is not taking down the bench conferences. And we have been mindful to build the records at the appropriate time, and we need to remain being mindful. And y'all need to be aware of when it becomes critical that if you want to do something differently, it doesn't mean I'll do it, but you need to ask me or tell me that that's what you want, so I can take it into account.
Thank you.
Y'all know what that means. It means you'll ask me to do it, and I'll say no, and then, no, that's not true.
All rise for the jury.
Judge, I'm on all this.
I know, is it gonna matter?
We got one on the water.
Wait a minute.
Is it gonna matter for your notes?
I can do it.
Judge, we would ask that if they don't mind, if they would sit in the same place they were yesterday.
Yeah.
Charged.
Yeah, we need to flip rows.
I'm sorry, Judge, they told me you wanted it flipped.
Oh,
I
well,
questioned that, but,
it's okay. It's just not any,
okay.
if y'all don't mind flipping,
Yeah.
it'll all work out.
The
Just
first row, if you come back out.
Just kind of, or however, get where you started out yesterday. It's fine. Oh, my heavens.
I told you that's what you wanted.
It's okay. This is going to be the worst thing that happens today, I promise you. Well, I don't promise you that, but let that be our goal.
Okay.
Y'all come on in and get settled. You can have a seat, and thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Bob. It's perfectly fine.
Be safe, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's good to see you again. We're ready to resume the jury selection in the case of the state of Georgia versus Justin Ross Harris, General Bill of Indictment 143124. And yesterday we accomplished a significant amount of work. We got you all in panel, and we went through the statutory questions and my general questions. And now we're going to move to the stage of the jury selection process where the lawyers are going to ask you questions. And I want to give you an orientation about that first so you'll know what to expect, and give you some instructions should certain situations arise for you. The lawyers' questions can ask you about, the lawyers can ask you about personal experiences you or people you know may have had, and your work and family background. They can ask you about possible emotional reactions to the subject matter of the case and things of that nature. They can ask you background questions, experiences you may have had or know about that might relate to your ability to serve on this case in a fair and impartial manner. Answers to these questions do not necessarily result in disqualification. Be aware of that. You are under oath, and it is your responsibility to be as truthful and candid as you can be. If a question relates to something you consider to be private in nature, you do have to answer the question. It's your responsibility as a citizen and under your oath. Having said that, if a question is asked of you and you do have an answer to that question, but you consider it to be private in any way, what you need to do is answer the question this way. Yes, that would be my answer, and I consider it private. We're going to make a note of that. And then at the appropriate time, I'll create as private an environment as I can for you to be able to answer the question, not in the presence of everybody, but with fewer people there. And that will help you but accomplish what you're required to under your oath, and to make sure that there's appropriate information for these parties to select a jury from your number that can be fair and impartial in trying this case. I think with those remarks from me, we are ready to start. The general questions will be asked by the lawyers first. And what they'll do is they'll ask a general question, like the general questions I asked you right at the beginning of jury selection yesterday, when I put out one question to all 36 of you, told you the answer, and asked you to raise your hand by groups. That's what we're going to do first. And then we'll move into individual questioning, and that'll be handled in a different way, and I will explain to you how that's done when we get there. Human communication is interesting. It may be that somebody asks you, and I know it's probably happened to all of us, somebody asks you something, they think they're as clear as the clear blue sky, and you're just looking at it going, well, what in the world do you mean? Because I don't understand any part of that. Well, that's fine. Say that. Say, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. We're not going to be offended, and we're from different parts of the state. We may use expressions differently than you all use expressions down here. We're very comfortable with that, and we respect that. What we want to do is communicate well. And so if you find that you are asked a question that you're going, I really don't know what they're talking about, please be comfortable to say, would you explain that to me? There's nothing wrong with that and everything right about that. Because the lawyers are going to do the same to you. If you say something, they're going, could you explain that? It's because they're not following. And what we want to do is communicate well and respectfully, and that's what's going to occur. I just want you to be very comfortable as you're having this colloquy discussion with counsel, that you know exactly to be comfortable, to listen carefully, to answer truthfully, and if something's not clear, please let it be known that it's not clear to you, just as we will do the same with you. Now we're going to start first with the state with general questions, and you may proceed. Thank you,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Gordon. Do you think perhaps it might be good to introduce yourselves again to the panels?
Yes,
for
Judge.
both sides?
Yes, Judge. Good morning. Again, my name is Chuck Boring. I represent the people of the state of Georgia in this case, state of Georgia versus Justin Ross Harris. Obviously, I think you've caught on by now, we do not live and work in Glenn County. We're all from Cobb County, so we'll be asking you some questions as we go through this about your familiarity with Cobb County, and hopefully we're going to get to learn a little bit more about Glenn County in this area as well. Some of us have had experiences growing up or either being in college down in this area too, so some of us may know more than others. But just so introducing the people here involved, because it's going to be important when I'm asking about whether I know you were asked some questions about whether you're related to people and things of that nature. We're going to be asking if you know any of these people involved. So first of all, does anybody here know me? I don't see anybody that I know. We didn't run into anybody in traffic trying to find the courthouse in the last couple of days, have we? Okay, no. All right, does anybody here know Mr. Evans, Jesse Evans, also an assistant district attorney in Cobb?
Good morning.
Okay, no hands. Mrs. Treadaway, Susan Treadaway? Okay. We have a couple of other members of the office from Cobb County here. Ashton Galloway, she is an administrative assistant. Okay, anybody know her? No hands. Nick O'Connor? Anybody know Nick? No hands. And Crystal Gossett? No hands. All right, defense team, Mr. Maddox Kilgore. Does anybody here know Mr. Kilgore? Okay. Does anybody here know Mr. Brian Lumpkin? Does anybody here know the defendant in this case, Justin Ross Harris? All right. And we have a new member here today. I'll let him introduce himself since he wasn't here yesterday.
Good morning, Carlos Rodriguez.
Does anybody here know Mr. Rodriguez? All right. I think y'all have all caught on by now. What I'm going to be asking you to do as I ask these questions, if it applies to you in any way, shape, form, or manner, go ahead and raise your hand. Keep your hand raised until I get to you and I call out your juror number. I'm going to try to refer to you by juror number, okay? And once I've called out your number, you can lower your hand. As if you think you may have a question. Sometimes you're like, does that apply to me? Is this something I should raise my hand about? If it's possible in any way you think you should raise your hand, go ahead and raise your hand. We will have an opportunity to take that up and get an explanation later when we do individual voir dire. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions, get a bunch of hands raised, so will the defense, and then we'll get back up here and ask you the follow-up questions juror by juror by juror. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. As the judge said, I know there are some issues, some questions you guys have already answered that we're going to be taking up individually. So, you know, if there's something private you need to take up, let us know if you'd rather do it outside the presence of the jury. And I want to emphasize here, we're not trying to be nosy and, you know, get up in all y'all's business and things like that. But we do have to ensure that we get a fair and impartial jury that will be fair both to the state and the defense. And with that in mind, as we're talking about it being fair and impartial, in a criminal case, we don't come in here asking you to basically disregard all your experiences in life. You don't even have to know nothing about the case. You can know stuff about the case. You can have opinions. What we have to find are jurors that can agree that they would be able to render a verdict, not based on any opinions you may have come in here with, but only upon the evidence that comes out of the courtroom and the law that the judge gives you. So we're going to be asking to see if you would be able to do that. So with that, a couple of preliminary questions. I know you guys filled out those juror questionnaires as you come in. But just to follow up sometimes to be safe, I just want to make sure by asking a couple of those. First, is there anybody here who is not a United States citizen? We've had problems in a couple of cases. We have a new juror roll system, and it can't just be, you can't be a permanent resident. You have to be a United States citizen to serve on the jury. So is everybody here a United States citizen? Anybody not a United States citizen? Okay, no hands. Is there anybody here who does not reside in Glenn County, who no longer lives in Glenn County? Okay. So everybody here lives the majority of the time in Glenn County. Is there anybody who's been convicted of a felony crime and not had their rights restored or had the conviction discharged? Anybody here that's a convicted felon and not had their rights restored? No hands. Is there anyone, and I don't think in this panel we've had anybody that works currently in law enforcement to the degree of being post-certified, but is there anybody here that is post-certified and has arrest powers? And if you are post-certified, you're going to know what that means. If you're not, don't worry about it. Okay, no hands. And does anybody here on the panel, and I don't think we had any issues yesterday, anybody here have a problem understanding the English language? Now it's debatable about how good some of our English is, but okay, no hands. Everybody can understand English. Okay, I asked if anybody knew the defendant in this case. Does anybody here recognize the defendant in any way? If so, raise your hand. Let me ask a different way. Does anybody here recognize the defendant in some way, form, or manner different than what you may have already raised your hand about having heard news reports and things? Okay, no hands. Forgot to ask, the elected official, my boss, is Vic Reynolds. He's the elected DA for Cobb County. Does anybody here know Vic Reynolds, the elected district attorney for Cobb County, Georgia? No hands. Okay, generally, asking about relationships, not just to us, but to other people in our field. Does anybody here in the jury pool know someone, either a family member or a friend, that either is a prosecutor now or has been before? Is a prosecutor, either as a solicitor, misdemeanor prosecution, or felonies? Okay. Now it's my first opportunity to have to take notes on this, so bear with me. I'm going to flip through a bunch of pages. Okay, and that's juror number 5. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else in the first panel? Second panel, okay, that is going to be Mr. Cherry. Thank you. Anybody else on the second panel?
I got a question. Is a prosecutor the same thing as a lawyer, or is that different?
A prosecutor is somebody who actually prosecutes criminal cases. Basically, we take charges and we have to prove that a crime is committed. When I'm using this language, I'll use prosecutor for that. Defense attorney is somebody who represents and defends people charged with criminal acts. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So nobody else in the second panel. All right. Third batch, we got. Are you in the? Is that the fourth row? So all right. Try to. So is that Mr. Anderson? Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Now, you probably know the follow-up now. Does anybody here know somebody who is a criminal defense attorney or has practiced criminal defense in the past? Anybody here know a criminal defense attorney? Okay. All right. Juror number 5 again. Thank you. Okay. And juror number 6. Thank you. Great. And that is juror 11. Yes. Thank you. Great. Thank you. Second panel. All right. I think I used your name before. I'm sorry. I got to get used to this using numbers here. It's juror 18. And let's see. Third panel. 1, 2. Is that juror 26? 26. Thank you. Look right beside you. Juror 27. Juror 28. Okay. And last but not least, juror 36. All right. Oh, sorry.
No, I got another question.
All right.
What if you know a lawyer in Cobb County that is, you don't know what he does?
Go ahead and raise your hand and we'll discuss it in individual, okay? Thank you, and that's juror 25, correct? I mean 35, sorry.
Yes, sir. I'm in the same boat as that gentleman.
Okay. All right. That's juror number 1.
Yes.
Okay, is there anybody here that either you, a family member, or a friend has ever been involved in any way with a criminal defense attorney's practice or firm or other related organization like the Innocence Project, Georgia Justice Project? Anybody here ever been, yourself, family member, or a friend, worked with one of those organizations or been involved, either donating money or time or something like that? Okay. We'll have a lot of follow-up in individuals. All right. Juror number 5, thank you. Anybody else? First panel, second panel, third panel? No. Okay, is there anybody here in this jury panel who knows someone, that, and it'll probably mostly be from this area, but knows somebody who works in the court system, either for like the clerk's office or as a judge or a court reporter or in probation, something like that, okay? Let's see. First panel. Juror number 2. Thank you. Juror number 5. All right. Juror 6. Thank you. Juror 8. Juror 12. Did I miss anybody in the first panel? Second panel. That is juror 16. Okay, your last initial C. Okay, you're 16. All right. So remember your numbers if you don't know. All right. You may not have been given them, so all right. You can see juror 24. And third panel, juror 26. juror 28. Is that correct? So juror 30. All right, last row. Juror 35 and 36. All right, y'all are going to have to hear me read off a bunch of names. What I'm going to do, because this is a circumstance where most of these witnesses are going to be called that are either from Cobb County or around that area, probably don't expect many of you to know these people. But I'm going to go through these names, and I'm going to pause briefly after each name. Once I read these names, if you believe that you know this person, please raise your hand. Now, there's a bunch of people's names on here. I don't anticipate all these people are going to be called as witnesses, but we just want to make sure, just in case one or some of these people are going to be called, that nobody has any relationship that would affect your ability to be a juror in this case. So I'm just going to start reading down this list. Philip Stoddard, Kenneth Adamczyk, Stephen Aubin, Jonathan Bratley, Everett Sabula, Robin Clements, Pamela Colson, Philip Cronin, Robert Lee Duncan, Ralph Escamillo, James Farrell, Lindsay Folia, that's Foglia, Randall Foley, Brett Gallimore, Shanae Jeter, Carrie Grimstead, Quinn Harris, Jeremy Holt, Kelly Hooper, Christopher Jeroman, Carl Jones, Philip Jones, John Knobloch, D. Mangold, Levon L.M. Mason, Sean Murphy, Thomas Knowles, G.M. Ord, A.G. Panchame, Jacqueline Piper, P.R. Pritchett, David Racy, William Rast, Eric Rich, Nicole Shadow, Bradley Schumpert, Ronson Smith, Edward Stockinger, Lawrence Zanowski, David Thorpe, Peter Waldorf, Stanley Wheeler, Raymond Yeager, Chelsea Doster, Jason Abdo, Kimberly Bell, Jason Malati, Ashley Birmingham, Hayden Bond, Renee Booker, Andre Brown, Devontae Brown, Edward Cockerham, Angela Dornett, Danielle Adore, Terrell Dudley, David Dustin, Eric Dustin, Artika Eastland, David Eklund, Ruben Alameen, Jelani Etienne, Karima Fletcher, Melanie Gibson, Marshall Grant, Michelle Gray, Jose Guerra, James Hall, Dale Hamilton, Azur Hawkins, James Hawkins, Caitlin Hickey, Wesley Houston, Craig Kaplan, Christiane Likely, Mary Loudermilk, Leonard Madden, Regina Malloy, Jane Meadows, Michael Merritt, Winston Milling, Darlene Mills, Brandon Moore, Christy Nurbin, Joey Nesbitt, Anthony Pantano, Jonathan Parker, Jeff Parton, Kiata Patrick, Naomi Peavy, Jim Persinger, Charles Redmond, Aaron Richmond, John Ridley, Jacqueline Robledo, Pramod Salian, Charles Sanders, Molly Sims, Elizabeth Smith, Alexander Swindell. Whoop, uh-oh. Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Are all those people from Cobb County?
Most of them are. Some are from the metro area.
Okay, well, okay.
Which name?
Joey Nesbitt. I know somebody by the name of that. They live here.
It's a female that lives in Cobb County.
Okay.
All right. So good. I'm glad. If you think, let's clear it up. If you have a question, let me know. Okay. Some of these are common names. Okay. I think I was at Bob Tressel, David Tyler, Kyle Weston, Bridget Williams, Mark Wilson, Ashley Womack, Tequila Yarborough, David Bronny, Lisa Holt, Larry Llewellyn, Casey Wilson, Brian Frist, Martin Jackson, Peyton Barwick, Allison Schaefer, Steve Thurlow, Alvin Ashurst, Michael Beekman, Michael Charles Bridges, Sean Gray, Troy Smith, Cassia Cato, Deborah Walicki, Leanna Harris, Shannon Doster, Delvin Clayton Jones, Terrence Murphy, Amanda Dallas, Bushan Agakar, Amy Bajents, Michael Bajents, Jason Bryant, Angie Bond, Gene Brewer, Heather Coyle, David Diamond, Sarah Duquette, David Eldridge, Kristen Hackey, I'm sorry, Ryan Henry, Billy Kirkpatrick, Evan Matches, Scott Moulton, Joe Siney, Michael Simmons, Deborah Ann Smith Taylor, JT Summers, Roger Webb, Quentin Austin, Jeffrey Jackson, Cecil Payne. Okay, that is the end. I know you're like, thank goodness. Okay. Were y'all tricked by it when I ran out of the alphabet and we started up again? Yeah. Sorry about that. I should have warned you. Okay. So no hands on any of the witnesses. Okay, I'm going to ask a few questions now about your work history and employment. We've gotten some answers about where you work and things like that. We're just going to ask some specific questions about your prior experience and some duties that you may or may not have had. And we'll follow up more individually when we talk to you. First of all, who currently has or in the past has had management or supervisory duties in your job? You manage people or supervise people, either in the past or currently. Okay. And I figured we're going to have a lot of answers on some of these. So, okay. First panel, juror number 5. All right, juror 6, thank you. Juror 7, I think I missed you, juror number 1, sorry about that. Picking up after juror 7, okay, going back, anybody else in the back row? Okay. All right, second panel. Okay, juror 13, thank you. Juror 15. Juror 16. And juror 18. All right, second row, we've got juror 19. Juror 22. Yes, you're 22. Is that you're 24, correct? All right. Thank you. And you're 24. All right. Third row, juror 26. Thank you, ma'am. Juror 28. Anybody else in that row? Okay, last row, juror 31. Juror 32. Juror 33. Juror 35. Thank you. All right. Who here in this may be kind of around, like, some people can manage and supervise that don't have the ability to fire, so I'm going to ask this question though. In that capacity, has anybody here had the ability to work in a job where you had the duty or role and the ability to hire people and fire people, or hire or fire people? Okay, who here has had that? Okay, first panel. Juror 1, thank you. Juror 5. Okay, hold on 1 second, let me get back to you. I see you. So juror 3. Juror 3, that you raised your hand, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you mean to include people that you hire or fire that work for you in your home?
That's a great question. Well, we'll take it up. We'll ask you about it. You haven't raised your hand on anything yet, so that'll give us an opportunity to ask you something. All right. I know you're real excited about that, right? Okay. Okay, I got you, juror 5, thank you. Juror 6, thank you. All right, second row, no hands. Third row, or well, let me start not calling it that. Okay, second panel, first row. That's juror 14. Is that right? No, 15. All right, thank you. Juror 18. All right, second row, over in there. Juror 22. Third row, we got juror 26, juror 28, and back to the last row, we've got, is it juror 33 and juror 35. Okay, now I'm going to ask questions about whether you, a family member or a close personal friend, has ever had training or work experience in particular areas. So what I'm going to go through is each particular area. If you know some, either yourself, a family member, or a close friend has either had training or experience in one of these areas, raise your hand, okay? Some of these may have a lot more hands raised than others, like going from the difference of law enforcement to neuroscience. Probably less people on neuroscience than law enforcement. But let's start with law enforcement. Okay, first panel, who here, you family member or friend, has had training or work experience in law enforcement? Okay, that's juror number 2. Thank you. Okay. Juror 4. Juror 5. Juror 7. Juror 10. And juror 12. All right, second panel. You got juror 15, oh, excuse me, juror 14. Yeah, she had her hand up. Sorry. I got you too. Okay, juror 15. Thank you. And juror 18. Okay. Next row, juror 20. Okay, yeah, juror 20. Juror 21. Juror 22. Juror 23. Juror 24. Okay, next row, juror 27. Juror 28. Sure, yes. Go ahead and raise your hand. We'll talk about it a little bit after that, okay? So juror 28, juror 30. All right, last row, juror 32, 33, and 35. Next, and probably maybe a lot more here than in Cobb County, although we do have a lot of military personnel in Cobb County. Here I know there's a good bit of people who have some military experience. Anybody here, yourself, family member, friend, have worked or have been in the military? Okay. It's going to be about everybody, I think. Okay. Okay, juror 1, juror 2, juror 3, juror 4, juror 5, juror 6, juror 7, juror 8, juror 9, juror 10, juror 11, not 12. Okay, all right. 1. All right, second panel. Okay. 13, 14, 15, 16, not 17, 18, okay, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right. Everybody in that next row. So 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Last row. About everybody. Okay, 31, 32, 33, not 34, and then 35 and 36. All right, who here knows somebody, and this is kind of expanding where I've had those questions about an attorney, whether it was criminal or state. This kind of expands it. Does anybody here, either yourself, family member, or close friend, ever worked or had training in the legal field? And what I mean by legal field is paralegal, people that went to law school and decided they didn't want to practice law, lawyers, no matter what they practice. It could be anything from real estate law to whatever. Somebody, your family member, friend, or yourself in the legal field and legal training. All right. Juror 1, Juror 2, Juror 3, Juror 5, Juror 7, Juror 8, Juror 10, Juror 11. All right. Second panel, Juror 17. Next row, Juror 20, thank you. And 24. Last panel. Yeah. Juror 28. 30. 31. And 35 and 36. All right, how about people, do you know anybody who works in the medical field? Anybody here who works, either yourself, family member, or a close friend who works in the medical field? You know, as a doctor, nurse, something like that. All right, Juror 1, thank you. Juror 3. It's like insurance? That's not what I'm getting at. No, that's okay. Yeah, if it's something where they just do like, you know, they're not doing medicine, like working on patients and things like that, that's okay. All right, we'll skip you. Okay, Juror 5. Okay. Juror 7. Juror 8. Juror 10. Juror 11. All right, second panel. 12. Or excuse me, 13, sorry. 13, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20. Sure.
Did you consider pharmaceuticals part of that, or you just mentioned like doctor or nurse?
Sure, we'll talk about it. Well, I'll go ahead and mark you down. Thank you. Juror 20, that was Juror 20. Juror 21, 22, 24. Okay, last panel. Juror 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. And last row, Juror 31, 33, and 35 and 36.
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
Like hospital administration, does that go in?
I'll mark you down and we'll follow up on it, okay? Okay. All right. Now, probably getting a little more narrow, I hope, but maybe not on this one. Mental health. Who here, either yourself, family member, or friend, works in mental health? And that can be psychiatry, psychology, counseling, things of that nature. Okay, let's see. Juror 5. And by the way, I don't mean like you're in college and you took Psych 101 just to get some credits. That doesn't count. I did that and I don't remember anything. So, okay. Juror 7. Juror 8. Thank you. Juror 10. Juror 11. Thank you. Okay, Juror 16. And Juror 18. Yes. I didn't mean to jump. I think that would count. Yeah, any specific type of training like that as well. It's more than just introductory stuff. Okay. Let me go back to you. Juror 2. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, that's when the judge was talking about not explaining an answer well, that was probably an example. So does anybody need to raise your hand that I didn't get, other than Juror 2? Okay. Let's see. Juror 19. Juror 20. Juror 21. Let's see. We got any? Juror 30 on the third row. Last for Juror 32, and Juror 35 and 36. All right, is anybody here, a family member, a friend, or yourself, have training or work experience in the field of neurology or neuroscience? Studying how the brain works, stuff like that. Okay. Any hands? First panel? No. Second panel? No. Third panel?
I got a question.
Yes.
Does it have to be through the school system? Because I've got training in it, but it's not through the school system.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. So you in neuroscience, neurology, or
I have to explain it privately.
we can privately. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, I like that question better. Very much fewer hands. How about sociology? Anybody here sociologist or working in sociology? And if it's encompassed by when you raise your hand about psychiatry, psychology, it kind of interrelates sometimes. Don't raise your hand again, but if it's something different, raise your hand. Okay, Juror 2. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Second panel, third panel, no. Okay. Criminology. Has anybody here ever studied in the field of criminology? If you know, you would raise your hand if you knew what that was. Okay, great. Okay, Juror 2. Thank you. And Juror 8. Thank you. Second panel, no hands. Third panel, Juror 30.
One question.
Okay.
Is that pertains to you personally, or do you know someone else?
You know somebody, either yourself, family member, or a close friend. Not just somebody you know that, you know, you run into in a restaurant. You're like, oh, that's that guy, and I know he does that. Okay. All right. Thank you. And Juror 28. Sorry. Anybody in the back row? Oh, sorry, I missed Juror 22. Okay, does anybody here know anybody that's ever worked in child protective services, here in Georgia known as DFACS? Anybody here, either yourself, family member, or friend, know somebody that's worked with DFACS or child services, child protective services in another state or somewhere? Okay. Juror 8. Juror 5. All right, second panel. Juror 13. Juror 16. 17. Juror 19. I think a lot of you who work in the school system probably raise your hands on this. All right. Juror 23. Juror 26. Juror 27. No, excuse me, 28. And juror 30. Okay. Last row, no hands. All right, last one of this group, this type of question. Is there anybody here who, either yourself, family member, or a close friend works in, generally I'm going to say, works with computers? Training experience, working with computers above just, you know, how to, like, work on the internet or something like that. Somebody that works in IT or is a computer programmer, web designer, something, you know it if I'm asking that question, what I'm talking about, I think. If you have a question, raise your hand and we'll take it up further after. Okay. Juror 3, thank you. Juror 5. Juror 7. Juror 9. Juror 11. All right. Juror 13. Juror 16. Juror 18. Let's see. Juror 22. And juror 23. And last panel, juror 25. Juror 28. Last row, juror 35. Is anybody here who holds a professional license or has in the past? Either you're an attorney and you have a license to practice law, you're a doctor, licensed to practice medicine, I think realtors have to have licenses, things like that. Is there anybody here who holds a professional license for your job or has in the past? Okay. All right. Juror 3. Juror 4.
ASC's certifications.
What's that? I'm sorry?
Certification, automotive service excellence.
We'll talk about it. That's good. Thank you. I'd rather be over-inclusive than under-inclusive, so. Is that a word? Oh, well. Okay. Juror 5. Juror 6. Juror 8. All right. Up here, juror 13. Juror 17. Juror 19. Okay, next row, juror 29. And juror 36. Did I miss anybody? Okay. You guys were asked on that questionnaire a question about whether you've served on a jury or not. I'm going to follow up on that and ask if you have actually served on a jury or a grand jury. If you've served on either one of those, a grand jury comes in, indictments are presented to them, and they decide whether they're going to render a true bill or not. A jury, a regular trial jury, comes in and decides the criminal charge is kind of like what you're here for before us. So I'm going to ask, has anybody here ever served on a jury or a grand jury, whether it's civil or criminal or anything of that nature? If you have, raise your hand, and then we'll follow up about the number of times and civil or criminal when we get to individual. Okay, first panel. Anybody ever served on a jury? Okay, juror number 3. Thank you. Juror number 11. Second panel, juror 13. Juror 17 and juror 18. juror 23. Alright. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I should have put them on. I'm getting kind of screwed up sometimes. Somebody's hand behind somebody. I can't tell if it's theirs or. So I've got you, juror 30. Okay, going back on that row. Juror 25. And juror 28, yes.
Is that 25?
Yes, 25. Then juror 28. And we had already said juror 30. Okay. Anybody in the last row ever served on a jury? No hands. Okay. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about fraternal or religious organizations and your involvement, things like that. Generally, who here actually belongs to or attends a church, a mosque, temple, or other religious institution? Who here attends that or belongs to a church? Okay. Let's see. Juror 5, thank you. Juror 7. Juror 8. Juror 9, thank you. Juror 12, and going back, also juror 6.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Can you repeat your question?
Oh, yes, sir. Does anybody here belong to or attend a church, mosque, temple, or any other type of religious institution? Does that make sense? Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you. All right, first panel's done. Second panel. 13. Juror 15. Juror 16. Juror 17. Next row. Juror 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. Juror 25. Is that rain? Oh. Juror 26. 28. 29 and 30. 31. 32. 35 and 36. Okay, the kind of the fraternal organization aspect of that. Does anybody here belong to or participate in any professional fraternal type of organization and things like that? It could be, just for example, United Way, service organizations like Rotary, Kiwanis, Masonic Lodge, NRA, ACLU, things like that. Does anybody here belong to any of those organizations or active in them? And we'll follow up about what organizations and individuals. Okay. Juror 8, thank you. Okay. Second panel. Juror 15. Juror 17. Juror 22. And anybody else? Juror 36. Thank you. Okay. What am I? Yes, go ahead.
I belong to it's not a thing like the Office Club, but we do good for the community. It's a CMA, Christian Motorcycle Association. That'd be.
I'm sorry, the court reporter couldn't hear you. She's trying to take down everything everybody said to make sure we get it on the record.
A motorcycle group that does good for the community.
Okay, a motorcycle group that does community service or good for the community? Okay. All right. The next group of questions and things like that I'm going to be asking you is your familiarity with, I guess, technology computer messaging devices, social media, and things like that, okay? So that's kind of where we're going now. I was going to ask, is there anybody here who usually or commonly uses a computer or laptop? I don't think these days that's the right way to ask that. Is there anybody here who does not regularly use a laptop or a computer or something like that? Anybody here who does not regularly use those type of things? Nobody in the first panel, second panel, third panel. Okay. Juror 25?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Is there anybody here who does not regularly use a cell phone? Anybody here not regularly use a cell phone? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. That's juror 3. Anybody else? Second panel, third panel. Okay. Kind of a follow-up to that. Is anybody here who uses a cell phone, but you use that little flip cell phone so you can't get internet access? Anybody here use a cell phone, but it doesn't have computer technology on it? All right. All right. Juror 3. All right. Juror 11. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Juror 25. Juror 29. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, who here regularly communicates via text messaging on your cell phone? Who here does that regularly? Text. Okay. All right. Let me go back to then people who don't regularly text. Okay. And I'm glad there's not. Never mind. I'm not going to comment on myself. I'll leave that alone. All right. Who here does not regularly text on your cell phone? Okay. Juror number 3. All right. Anybody else? First panel. Okay. Who does not regularly text on your cell phone? Juror 23. Thank you. All right. And juror 25. Juror 33. Anybody I missed? Okay. Okay, who here communicates with other people via not just texting, but cell phone applications like messaging services? Whether that's like on your phone, you've got Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, WhatsApp, things like that. There's not your usual texting, but you communicate via messaging on your phone. Okay. And that's juror 1. Okay, thank you. Okay. Juror 2, thank you. Juror 4. Juror 5. I guess it is raining. Wow. All right. Juror 7. Juror 8. Juror 9. And juror 12. Okay, second panel. Juror 13. Juror 15. Juror 16. Juror 17. Juror 19. Juror 20. Juror 21. Juror 22. Juror 23. Nope, not 23. Juror 24. Juror 26. Juror 27, 28. Juror 30. 31. 32. Juror 34, raise your hand. All right. You got one answer from her. Sell out. All right, and juror 35 and 36. Okay. And just so you know, you probably feel better about this. I usually don't try to speak for the defense, but I'm handling a lot of the questions that they would probably ask, so they'll probably have a lot less, and maybe that'll make y'all feel a little bit better right now. But so we're trying to be extensive and go through and make sure we ask everything we can in case it's not covered by the other parties. Okay. Who here, I'm going to read off a list of websites or social media, I guess, groups or applications. I want you to raise your hand. Well, the first one I'm going to say, raise your hand if you do not use this website. Okay? I think it'll be easier doing it that way. Okay? First one, who here is not familiar with or use Facebook? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Juror 3. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? Okay. Second panel. Okay. Juror 23. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. And juror 25. Anybody else? No one else. Who here is not familiar with or does not use Instagram? Okay. At some point here, I'm going to start asking it the different way, but we're still on the more people who don't. Okay. Does not use it. Juror 1. Okay. Juror 3. Juror 4. Juror 6. Juror 11. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Juror 13. Juror 14. Juror 18. Okay. Juror 19. Juror 21.
Can you repeat that?
Okay. Instagram. Are you not familiar with it or you don't use it? Okay. Okay. Juror 23. Juror 24. Juror 25. Juror 28. And last row, juror 33. And juror 35. Okay. Craigslist. Who here, and I won't say, I'm sure most people have heard of Craigslist. I'm going to say, who here has ever used Craigslist? If you use Craigslist, raise your hand. Okay. Juror 3. Okay, juror 5. Juror 6. Juror 7. Juror 8. Juror 9. Juror 10. Juror 11. Wait, did you raise your hand, juror 11? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's me. I got mixed up. Okay, juror 11 and juror 12. Juror 15 and 16. Juror 18. Juror 19. Juror 21. Juror 24. Juror 28. Juror 29. Juror 30. 31. 32, 34, 35, and 36. Okay.
Mr. Boyd?
Yes, ma'am.
This might be a good time for a movie break.
Okay, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a 2-minute recess because let us come back to the courtroom at, let's say 10:45. Now, don't go. Keep an open mind. Do not discuss this matter with each other. Let others speak with you about the case. No contact with the attorneys or parties or witnesses to the case. Just have a nice short little break and let's get back to work at 1:45. We're in recess.
Well, I thought there